So I don't think that the majority of women are out here being rude to men, right? I don't think that the majority of women are going out of their way to be cantankerous to strangers, right? Sure, there's some. What I do know from that study that came out is that the majority of women physically can't see like 80% of the male population. And so these men are walking around completely being unacknowledged by the world. Like the lack of thank yous when somebody holds the door, I can almost guarantee it's because that woman like physically can't see that man holding the door open. Absolutely. They've proven it through studies. Women just, if you are below a certain ranking physically, women don't register you in their peripheral. Like,
Even open the door for you?
listen, how many like automatic doors have you walked through and not thought twice? Right?
If somebody open the door for me, I'm gonna say thank you. That's just rude.
I understand, right? But if you don't, if you're not actually physically seeing that person, that there's no,
I'm
huh?
trying to figure out how you not see a person who opened the door for you.
And they've proven this. They've proven the fact that the majority women will walk by so many men on just an everyday basis of being outside and don't actually register these men. Like they just don't exist in their realm. And it's not that these women aren't aware of their surroundings. They just their brain does not take these men in and physically being in their space.
Selfish.
Right? So there's a lot of these men who are not the most attractive men or could be very average looking men that just walk around being completely ignored. And I think it comes off as rude because you don't see them, you don't have that level of not cursity, what is it? Courtesy towards them, right? So then it comes off rude. Like you said, if you see somebody opening a door for you, you're going to say thank you. But if you don't see them, there's nobody to say thank you to, right? So I hear the complaint. I think it's a fair complaint. If you are one of those men who walks around completely unacknowledged for the majority of your life, the majority of the people you work with don't notice you because you're somebody who's just forgettable, right? I can see that complaint. I think it's a fair complaint. And yet I still want to ask, what's your character, right? Your motivation. I'm on a different spectrum than you, Shan. If your motivation is selfishness, cool. How do we figure out how to utilize that motivation to get you to a place where you want? Not everybody's motivation is going to be holistic all the time, right? It's not always going to be positive or selfless all the time. Some people are just selfish people. That's not necessarily a negative thing, but we can use that to anchor somebody in doing the right thing regardless, right? I think do it. Do the right thing and see what that gets you. If that changes your visibility in terms of women, if that changes your visibility in terms of the people around you, right? If you haven't tried it, I don't know what to tell you, right? We haven't explored all of the possibilities that could exist for you. I understand that like it can be scary, that it can worsen the feeling. I get that. And I have compassion for the fact that that's a risk. But if you don't try it, you continue to be invisible to the world.
You know, it's so funny. That reminds me of this video I saw. That guy, it was a baby, it was like a 4-year-old or a kid that was hanging, and the dad was on the other side. Y'all saw that? And that dude just climbed all those. He was on the outside of the building. He climbed up and grabbed the baby and just walked up. And I was like, oh, that alone gives you a little tingle. You know?
I believe
just grab that kid in this room.
I believe what Inaz said about how stuff can just be peripheral. You just don't even notice, because I notice that men in general can walk by stuff on the floor, socks. They done drop stuff on the floor, bottle caps, and they act like they don't see it. And it just stays there. And then you say, "Did you see it?"
Be quiet.
You be like, "No, I didn't see it."
Last comment, AP, then we have to move on. Go ahead.
I was just curious, Inaz, is that the same study where they did? It was something called like the object study, where it was done in New York, where people don't see other people as people. Not that they're down in them, but they're more like objects that are there in place. Is that like a similar study like that one was?
Yeah, so not necessarily like not objects in place, but like part of the background.
Yeah.
Like the same way that you'll see a building, you'll walk by it your entire life and you've never actually looked at it or acknowledged that it's there. That's the same sentiment. Yeah.
Okay. I was just curious.
Y'all got to move on. Marcus, this is going to be fast or it's going to take us down the loophole. Ask yourself before you say anything.
All my questions take us down a loophole, so I'll keep it to myself.
Okay, let's just wait. If you still having it still on your heart, now that you say it a little bit later, okay?
Just real quick, like 15 words. There was a study that a woman pretended to be a man and she committed self-deletion based off of how she felt society treated her.
First of all, if you self-delete, that's mental illness, period.
He cited that the being disconnected from society had an impact on her that she could not forget about because she was so used to the socialization society provided her as a woman. No, you can look it up. It's not something they got the name in the chat. Nora Vincent, look it up one day. I mean, we all know this is not my perspective.
Listen,
right?
but look at this. Look at this way. We're going to go into detail. People do people wrong all day, and we're going to go into that right now. So because some of y'all doing people wrong right now, and you don't think nothing of it. So let's dig a little deeper into this, okay?
29, 6'4". And I think for me, right, again, you know, although I'm unmarried, I am seriously dating at the moment. And I think the biggest thing for me, what's keeping me from that next phase of truly settling down in the marriage sense, is really just getting to the space of accomplishing a few more things, I think, selfishly, for me to really feel confident to get to the next level. So like for me, you know, there's a certain car I want to get next, right? It's a coupe. It's not an SUV. It's definitely not family friendly, right? You know, there's my new spot in Miami that I'm looking to close on soon. That, you know, it is not necessarily the most family friendly place, but it's something for me I want to do. You know, there's a few more things even with my mom, like wanting to retire her. That again, these are things that, you know, as a man, I feel, you know, compelled to be able to do. To really be able to fully step into that next phase of marriage, because I understand, you know, now I'm looking for things like peace, right? And I'm looking for things like, is that woman able to be accountable with her emotions and understand how she can control the temperature of the room with her emotions? Right? Because women are like thermostats, right? If a woman is angry, you feel it in the whole house. Yeah. The same way like she's happy. I look for things like, you know, now, does that woman understand placement? Right? So if she has an issue, when is she bringing it to you? So for instance, if you guys are out and let's say you're at a party and she, you know, for whatever reason, she has something that she's upset with, does she need to express it at that party, or does she have enough grace to do it in the presence of the home? Like these are things that, like, I think now I'm realizing are much more important, right? Because, you know, as cool as to your point, the aesthetics are, a lot of times the aesthetics doesn't always make for the most sustainable relationship.
Okay, so those were actually two clips put together. Okay, so I wanted to emphasize in the beginning how he stated that he was not ready for a relationship. Basically, he was in a long-term relationship, but then he stated things that he was doing, and there are things that he wanted before he were to commit in a relationship, like take it to the next level. And then he stated all of these qualities he wanted out of a woman. And to my opinion, those were wife-like qualities. My question is, because I see this so often, why is it that we, and this is both men and women, we want marriage, we want wife or husbands, but we don't want wife or husbands? Why is it that when you are playing, you're not playing with playmates? You want to go and damage an individual, I like to say, in opposed to, for example, if there's a woman who's not marriage-minded like you, that's the time that you play with that person because you guys are playing together. But it seems that people want to play with people who are, you understand what I'm saying? Who aren't meant to be played with. Does that make any sense? Because I'm seeing that a lot. It is becoming a growing issue. Does it make sense? Am I making sense? Okay. So just wanted to know your input on that.
Yeah, I would say this. It's not anybody's responsibility to make sure that you're taken care of. So if you're in a relationship with a person and it's going on too long, this person doesn't seem as attentional or attentive or romantic or anything like that, it is your responsibility as a person in said relationship, whether it's romantic, whether it's friendships, family, you're responsible for all your interactions. Um, that's a long story short.
Okay.